Okay, so let's continue. Today we will continue on competitive strategy, and there are a lot of angles we can look at competitive strategy. Strategy is just the way we can get our goals, realize our goals, or be able to compete more in a better way that we can get better deal in returns, higher rate of returns, or more profits, or market shares, whichever performance criteria that you can look at it. And if you look into Michael Porter's from Harvard Business Schools, you will know that Professor Michael Porter's has taught us a lot of theories and give us transfer a lot of knowledge to us in terms of competitive strategy, and he has published books on competitive strategies, and one of the very important notion is the competitive advantage of nations and the nation's industries, which are consisted of five, 1, 2, 3, 4, four very important diamonds ingredients, or diamonds elements, or diamond factors, plus two additional control system. One of them is the factor conditions that your industries, or your industries, if you want to be leaders, and your industries want to be a leader, and your industries in combinations would enable your nations to be a leader in that particular industries. Number one is the factor conditions, meaning that all the productivities, resources, and capabilities, okay, is that and the infrastructures that you need in order to, or the human capitals that you need to make the nations as competitive advantages. And the second one, of course, you need to have demand conditions that your countries, your place, the nation as a sufficient, robust demanding market demand. And if you do not, for example, if Central Group, or the or Siam Cement groups, if the cement industries in Thailand, or these retail industries in China wants to have the competitive advantage, and they contribute to the industries at the same time to the nation's power, you must have sophisticated demands in Thailand. And if Thailand does not have that demands, then the home country companies will not, no matter what, will be very, very difficult to be competitive, to have competitive advantages. So part of the competitive advantages coming from the home demand, the nations where the companies are located, and that is because the more demands you already learn from your innovations and entrepreneurship, the more demand, the more opportunities for you to be to come up with entrepreneurial ideas, and to develop and go engage with the innovation processes, and eventually coming up with some of the very innovative product and services. And so demand is very important, but again, you need the support of the factors condition, right? All the necessary conditions, factors that need to be there in order to ensure that the whole process operations can be accomplished, right? The 5S, the 5S systems, for examples, you categorize them and you sort things out through your facilities and your equipments and manufacturing cells, and then from there you plan orders, print them in order sequences, so set them in orders, and then you can start running your operation. But before that, you need to do some checkpoints and some hygienic ensuring that those hygienic conditions or the places are properly clean. So, for example, if you're working on the semiconductors, that the waters need to fulfill certain purify requirements, and from there you can therefore continue your productions operations. And if you and the more you learn about your productions operations, the more you gain the knowledge to help you improve your processes and maybe make it more robust, more flexible, at the same time more responsive to the market demand, and so which is agile in the sense anyway, whichever way you do, eventually, and through innovations, you can have learnings by insight, which will help you to transcend your isoquants of physical factors and the data factors, and in a much more cost efficient and competitive advantage way, and then from there you can standardize it. Okay, so standardizations, ISO 9001 standardizations, quality management systems processes will be in store, which we will discuss later. And then from there, we are together with the support of the supporting industries, and you should be able to get your the competitive advantage coming into the picture. But that again also depends on uh, your competitive strategy and structures and rivalry of the total industry. So if the industries are very much competitively on par, that will drive competitiveness, right? That would drive the whole industries to grow. So again, it depends on where you located and the types of nature of competitions in your industry. For instance, it's not only in the industry. For instance, if you are students in a universities where there is not much rivalry, there's no competitions, and everybody just take it easy and very easy to go through, and so therefore there's no competitive advantage coming from that particular universities, because there's no strategies, no structures of learning, and also the state of competitions. It's not robustly active for arousing the opportunity and threat awareness, and therefore you do not continues to much engage in the strength and weakness rectification. Okay, so and then the rest is the government and the opportunities that happens in the macro and micro situations, where then uh, cross interactings and to support the overall competitive advantage of your industry and the nation. And this is how Michael Porter's has contributed, and this is where this book you can read it. Is pretty thick, and the jigsaw, the essence of the competitive strategy concepts I have just explained it to you. So you do not need to, if you do not have the time to read through the whole books, then that probably is to be sufficient for the purpose of this class. But if you want to really get into the detail, then for sure it is recommended that you read the books, which is very thick. And you can also use that to apply to the green forms of competitive competitions, green forms of competitions. And so, for instance, we have the market green. We can start it from the light green, which is compliance with the governments. So the governments has certain concepts. So competitive strategies come from compliance with the government rules and regulations, and from there, by just compliance with the laws and rules and regulations of the institutions, of the former institutions, or maybe the informal institutions of the society, that kind of light green in compliance, it can also induce a lot of innovation. Okay, and generate tremendous wave of opportunities and exploitation, and that is ambidexterity, which you have already learned about it, and then slowly you can move on to what the markets need in terms of green product and services, and how green is green, and to what extent of green is that uh, uh, through the IoT, Internet of Things, that can help you minimize the traffic flow and unnecessary back and forth, and that kind of that also reduces the green, right? Because it's the carbon footprint, right? So that depends on how you look at it. You can come up with many competitive strategies, and the green market greens would then force you to engage different value chain partners to be a part of you value co-creating the green services and products and operations and productions and managements and administrations and engineering and so on and so forth. And also, if you can focus really on your factors conditions to induce dark green, maybe R&D, research and development into the real resources, and turn that and use that dark green resources, that would be very good. And of course, the other things would be more intangible, dark green philosophies and dark green ideologies of the employees and the organization, and then from there, by combining all the green levels degree from light to stakeholders to market to dark green, you should be able to generate competitiveness, which is the competitive advantages. So the strategy, although it is applicable from the book at the industries levels, or the leaders of the international levels, but it is very much applicable to firm level if you make sense out of it. Okay, so this is where uh, innovative sustainability comes into the picture. So innovative sustainability in the sense that it can continue generate the returns, whether in the social domain or in the ecological domains or in the economics domain, and in a sustainable way, and plus the changes of the context and of the environment that induces your innovation requirements and efforts and competencies, and together it becomes the competitive strategy forms of your organization. So again, it's a very powerful model, and you can adapt it to from Michael Porter's and help you to expand your competitive strategy. Okay, so this page, even though it's only one page, it is in fact very detailed, and I could ask you to run on a projects on this, but we will see what happens when the times come. Okay, so in the sense, to accomplish that, we can to accomplish that competitive advantage of an industries and the nations, and we know that it is exploiting the we interactions and the me-we world. So it is really, if you go deeper into a different angle, it is really nothing but different manifestations of me-we world, right? So and even the me-we world, the way we run the me-we world in this concept, uh, there are a lot of forms. You can look at me, we were, you can start with the me and slowly radiating out to the we of your partners and to the world. But that kind of me-centric, although doing we and world is more of corporate social responsibilities, CSR, and that there are if you're me, it's very powerful, maybe it's okay, but if you're me, it's not powerful, you're not big company, then that me centric, even though involving we and world, it's like an up count. It's like okay, we'll do something about, we will do something about to the world and to the we, and we'll engage them, but it is only following your me. policies and strategies. So your competitive strategies comes of the we and the words comes after your me strategies. On the other hand, you can have me we word independently and individually and separately running, and then you just overlapping on each other's and exploit as many commonality as possible to your for your innovations, for your sustainability strategy, for your competitive strategies that is based on innovative sustainability. So this is more of over value co-creations in the overlapping, and as the degree of overlapping, the more it is, the better the strategies can generate that kind of attractiveness. Okay, and for everyone's to earn sufficient amount of money, and the competitiveness and the sustainabilities are very much share. They do have some common competitiveness comes from sharing certain common ideologies and common interests and things like that. And then from there, it depends on your competency skill, the degree of maturity, which we have already discussed, degree of maturity from the novice to all the way to expert maturity on competencies to be able to enable you to be sustainable. So again, different concepts will have different perspective of competitive advantages and sustainability. And the sustainability on the overlapping would one of them would be because they share the common things, and so everybody will have the common things. So if that is so common, and so how are we going to gain competitive advantage? And you gain competitive advantage by doing the best, and that is where the maturity, the competencies comes into the pictures, and that is where ISO 9001 comes into the picture, and that is where the business practices, quality business practices comes into the picture. Okay. But on the other hand, on the me-centric, you got to be very innovative, because the we in the world is watching you, need you to propagate, they need you to radiate out your opportunity, your competency. And so this is more of a very powerful, if you want to be like this, your me got to be very powerful, just like the sun's radiating the energies all the way to the universe. Okay, so that innovative power has to be very, very strong. So again, every model right here, or on the other hand, is like if you stop, everyone stop, and if me stop, we stop, and the world stop, and if the world stop, we stop, me stop. So this kind of systematic, and we don't call it systematic, this kind of systemic systems theory, it's very important. Again, so therefore the knowledge of the competitive advantage and competitive strategies coming from your ability to integrate and know the dynamics of how me and we and the words are interlocking, inferencing each others. And if you want to go into the mathematics on the me we world situation, particularly in the interlocking gear, you can go to MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technologies. There is a class as a course on system dynamics, and they are very strong. And or you can go to buy the textbooks. I'm not so sure. Maybe they stick a couple of maybe 10,000 baht, things like that, and the textbook, and you can read by yourselves, and you can do modeling and simulations and see how they're interlocking each other's. Okay, and because you are not engineering students, and I will not brief you on those systems modeling. And beside that, we overall we could also run on complexity theory and systems theories on that, which is a most complicated but simple versions of that. Okay, so these tools are very, very much difficult. Okay, and it depends on how you creatively work on your strategy. So if I give you something like this on your assignments, which will be very, very challenging. And if you're on the classes, then we can explain and make sure that everybody is clear. But because of online sometimes and because nobody is saying anything, so sometimes I tend to most of the time I tend to give you some simple workable question rather than something that very challenging, because I do not know where you are and how strong you are and things like that. Okay, and even the project that I have given to you, and sometimes I have to discount after you coming back, and I have to discount many percentage in terms of expectation. Okay, so at least the sustainability concepts and inspirations can drive innovation. So you can, at least from these two, uh, sustain environments, to sustain your businesses, you need me, we were interlocking with each others from different angles and from in different forms. And also you have seen the interlockings of different factors and conditions and industries and in strategy. So it's a tangible and intangible interlocking of each other's and of the me, we were, and things like that. So you can see basically the inspirations of you wanting to be sustainable drive and the different concepts of the sustainabilities, whether from the green sustainabilities or whether from the competitiveness sustainabilities, or whether from the the Michael Porter's diamonds models concepts, or from the me, we were in three different angles and three different forms, or maybe more forms, and all these sustainability concepts and your inspirations drive innovation. So that is this is I have already given you the assignments on innovation and entrepreneurship driving the innovations, and really depends on your angles. Okay, if you look into the finance system, we can also look at innovations from how we can quickly and responsively operating our operations in such a way that the operations exploit the VRINO, okay, variable, rare, inimitable, non-substitutable, and organized forms of operations, okay, and the competency, and to move that competencies to be creative, that eventually collectively gains the competitive strategy. And so these innovations can be driven from various different angles. I have one student who is almost graduating from a PhD students in Satsin, and it was under my supervision of the thesis at the master's levels, and he was working on constructions companies, and he was collecting a lot of data from the constructions companies and the industries in Chiang Rai. And then we analyze all these strategic human resource managements and developments framework and platforms, and how that induces the innovations and speeding responsiveness of the constructions technologies and things like that. And he went to Scenes to work on sustainability innovations by 3D printings of the coral reef. And it was very successful. And a couple of 2 months ago, he got the number one best innovations in Thailand. And so you can see that if and he was so happy and came back and offered me to, and his father's offered me a huge dinners and things like that. So sustainability concepts really can drive innovation. Okay, and innovations can also therefore using the technologies and your creative ideas enable the sustainabilities to happen. Okay, but again, you need to have make sure that you monitor for a long time, and you can continue to improve on your sustainability. So this is a very important concept. Okay, and so let's quickly go into some of the examples on what I have told you in terms, for example, on the light green, right? So how would light greens be generate the competitive strategies, be a guiding post, a guide post for your competitive strategies and innovation. And this is all well recognized. And then moving on to stakeholder screen and things like that. And so you can see that, for instance, if you read the news all the times, and President Biden has signed executive orders. Okay, and it was this executive orders that was intending to develop the green innovation. So viewing compliance as opportunity is part of your competitive strategy, and that is where your competencies comes into the pictures to realize that competitive strategy. So meanings of competitive strategies and competencies, you could look at it as competency as the implementation of your competitive strategies, or you can also look at competency as the driving force of competitive strategy, which I have demonstrated in the 5X. So, or you can use that strategy, competitive strategy, as the driving directions for where you're supposed to invest on your competencies, such as core competencies, something that is very core at your businesses that you need to really master to the experts level that differentiate yourself from the rest of the industry. And so allows you to continue to make exploitations of your competencies in view of all the opportunities in the industries. Okay, so you can see that and compliance is a very important business ethics protocol. And so one of the very important business ethic philosophy. So again, so competitive business ethic therefore becomes a competitive strategy foundation. And so everything gets integrated. And compliance in the ethical situations will refer back to the ontological principles of business ethic, in the sense that you have the responsibility to comply with the rules and regulations of the society, and all the, which means you have a social contract, or with the governments, not to break the law. And then from there you can do that means that you are following a good ethical path. Okay, and that, so therefore, do not simply read things from the surface of the words, and every words getting into the details can give you competitive strategy. So this is where competitive strategies comes into the picture. So a couple of months, couple of weeks has already passed, and I hope that slowly competitive strategies just pop up, easily, and the interlinkings between competitive strategies and competencies in various different angles and explanation. So the light green will therefore to have the operational advantages of the 5X hustle in time. We call hustle means these 5X operations of the sorting things and set things in orders and shining and standardizations, and then get things to be on the disciplinary platform. And things like that. And so you can then therefore in view of that operations effectiveness and efficiencies, and as part of your competitive strategies in enabling to fulfill and deliver your operations objectives in the sense of flexibility, the dependabilities, or qualities, or time, or speed, or whatever you have already studied in operations management, that will come to the stage 2, so you exploiting and making this value chain sustainable happen. So you have to really focus on your value chain, because this is where activities are. A value chain is the fundamental requirements for competitive strategies, and then after that, then slowly to make a more easier to understand. So the new concepts on business models come into the pictures, but again, it's not much different. Value chains probably could be a more stronger versions on the business model because of the secondary groups of activities that is so vividly visual, explicitly clear that you can that you know where you got to do on your secondary set activity to drive the primary activities. Okay, and that primary activity is really nothing but your business model. Okay, and so business model in the sense that is lacking the secondary activities. So I would say value chain still concepts are still very, very powerful, and you should not ignore. Okay, it is not about and new ideas comes into the pictures, and then you come to you join the you jumps into the new idea, the business model, and forget about the value chain. In fact, value chain is where the value comes into the picture. This is where you can best produce the value. And with the things that you can best produce the value, that means that that is the place where you can reduce the cost the most. And it makes sense for you to produce the value. Anything that is not doesn't make sense for you to produce the best value for the customer, that is to some very hustle words we call waste. We are wasting our resources, we are wasting our time, we are wasting our funding, we are wasting our assets, we are wasting our capital. Why don't we just outsourcing, and that is where the outsourcing comes into the picture, and that is where the lean operations comes into the pictures, and that is where the agilities comes into the picture, and that is where the responsive supply chain management comes into the picture, and that is where all these new concepts comes into the pictures from the value chain. Value streams also come from the value chain. So value stream is just nothing but analyzing in detail from the your primary chain and look at the all the values and cost and operations cost and time to deliver, so that you can look at the streams and reduces the time, and then offer some re-engineering processes of your operation, and so that you can get a very robust competitive strategy out of your operations. And from there, you can work on your masters the skills and knowledge, and that is the competencies comes into getting to the maturity process of sustaining with robust performance. Okay, so this is the situations, and then we therefore slowly move on to the market green and things like that look at or maybe the dark green, which is the factor conditions, and see how we can relook into our. We know that the markets needs green situations, and we know that if we continues to develop detergents powders that need to heat up the water, and which will use a lot of electricities and motor and horsepower, and that would generate a lot of electricity requirements, and that would heat up the temperatures of the earth, and due to the CO2s and methanes and CO2s, if it's inefficient, methanes will comes into the picture. Otherwise, it will be CO2 in the sense if your productions, your heat transfer, your combustions are not efficient, then you will have a carbon monoxide and nitrogen oxide and things like that what comes into the picture. Anyway, your job would focus on the market attractiveness and then induce and turn them as the innovative opportunity into product and services, and that is where the tight Lever Brothers comes into the pictures with co-waters and not the Lever Brothers, sorry, P&G, Procter and Gamble, and launched the co-watered in all the countries. Okay, and so this is these are happening, and then again, similar to the stakeholder screen is in the way of not only looking into the value chains, but also looking into how we can look at the new way of doing business. Okay, and so this new business models comes into the picture, things like that, and that again depends on your innovations, ideas, and your data, right? So as I told you already, from the data and physics, physical factors isoquant, and which this class you also need to look at the YouTube, and the new technologies provide basically the ability for you based on the data and based on the information and knowledge that generated from the data analysis and the science, a lot of sciences and things like that, you can you can you can really design robust operation systems that allow you to extract the carbon, all these carbon dioxides, and pumps into the ocean. And just like the coral reef forms the skeletons, calcium carbonate skeletons. And so we can also use that similar analogy, biology analogy situations to help us turn the carbon dioxide into concrete cement, and therefore we do not need to knock down the whole mountain at this moment. In Thailand, all the big companies of the constructions are actually knocking down the mountain. And if we knock down the mountains, where we gonna live? We're gonna live in disasters. Winds will blow through, soils will be taken out, and floodings will come because the waters, there's no mountains to resist, and the waters will flow, and then waters flow, waters in, waters out. So quickly come in, quickly go out. So during the flooding times, is all flooding, and then after that is drought. So drought, flooding, and there is no reservoirs or no natural reservoirs to sustain this ecological healthiness. And that is so these new business models would help to change and preserve the natures, and at the same time sustain the economic developments of the industries and of the company. Okay, and that is if you look into this business model using that situation, it is more of a dark green, which we have just discussed. Okay, the dark green factor conditions. So we are looking into the dark greens to as the driving force for business model to change the whole industry. Okay, so what is business model? A business model is not about the it's not really about the the things that you are familiar with, and that is only like some concepts from some consultants or some researchers that they provide the canvas and of the business model canvas of night blocks or whatever, and then you jump into that. It is not in that sense. The real sense is what really drive your business. Okay, that is called model. So many people misunderstand and jump into the conclusions of canvas, and that is manipulated with the mechanisms and not at the right concept. So this dark green would be a key driving force of your business model, the way your business operate from the foundations of the dark green. And so this creating a new business model, right? Creating a new business opportunity rather than knocking down the excavating and knocking down the mountains. We are now able to extract carbon dioxide from the industrial emissions and bubble it through seawater to manufacture the cement, right? And it is a very important innovation that drive the entrepreneurship startup, a new venture. Okay, so you can the concept is similar to coral reef formations of all these calcium carbonate structures of which is cements take the analogical metaphorical process. Okay, and you can go into the detail and see how the gas starting to go into various chemicals and heat transfer processes, and eventually becomes the cement. And the other issues of the innovations and sustainability of what I have just mentioned to you for a competitive strategy is see how we can create the next innovative we call destructive. We can call it destructive innovation platform. Okay, or we just make it simple. Do not need to use many beautiful names. Just next, wide utilizations platform or next practice platform. Okay, so for instance, before we used the horse for transportations, and now we learn from the birds and becomes the airplanes, and we learn from the whales and becomes the submarines and boat and I mean ship, and so or whatever. And so this kind of moving from one platform to another platform to another platform to another platform to now where we can maybe no need to fly, we can have a hyperloop 1,000 kilometers per hour or 4,000 kilometers per hour of the airplane of the rail. Just like you can call it the airplane on the surface, or you can call it the hyper very fast speed of train, things like that. And that means that we can go from one end, for example, New York to California, maybe just a few minutes. Don't need to fly, and just zoom, just reach there, right? And so that is because we do not we use the data, right, so that we can save a lot of physical. We can transform the physical innovation based on the data, physical isoquant, okay, and things like that, which you have to explain, you have to learn from the YouTube yesterday as the foundations for you to understand competitive strategy, right? Because what happened is that most of the money, most of us spend times on the energy resisting the all the friction, and whether it's a wind frictions or on the road, our tires get eroded, and then we have to repair and change our tires, and because of the friction. So when you, for example, if you study your secondary high school's mathematics, or not mathematics, physics, you know that when when this is the surface, when your car's moving, and there is a the touching point, there is a friction, right? There is a friction, which is the friction force, which is the coefficient of these frictions, and how heavy your normal force are, and that will create a frictional force. So if you can reduce that frictions by and no matter how heavy your plane is, and normal force being separated from the road, and frictional is not there because of vacuum. If you can create a vacuum system, and so basically there will be no frictional force, and all the force will be one-way direction, right? Even though you're not, if you look into heat and mass transfers, the fluid dynamics, if you do not touch on the surface, there is still the velocity, right? There is a velocity starting from the beginning to the end and continue to go up, and that turbulence flows, and even the laminar flows also generates a lot of friction, and all these frictions creating across all the domains needs you to spend a lot of unnecessary money, and that reduces the efficiency of the thermodynamics systems, or your designs or machinery, and that makes you not competitive, not sustainable. Okay, not sustainable in the sense that you will utilize and finish all your energies one day and things like that. So it is very important that we have to continue to create the next practice platform in order to accomplish that. Okay, so I hope that you all slowly get ideas where competitive strategies are. You can look at from competency angle, you can look at from innovations angle, you can look at from sustainability angle, you can look at from the data physical isoquants angles, you can look at from the operations angles, you can look at from resources angles, you can look at from the way you position yourselves in the market angles, and you can look at from various different angles. Okay, so basically we have already covered, and so on these competitive strategies, and let me see what I'm supposed to teach you. Three of business and marketing strategies are normative imperative, meanings that sometimes they have already given you, they tell you that this is marketing strategies, and this is why we need the STP, segmentations, targeting, and positioning, and because these segmentations comes along with your targeting, will provide you, will allow you to, quickly get the returns on your investments. But then, if you want to sustain your competitive advantages, you need to have a positioning, a clarity on your strategy and things like that. And that is how we call normative imperative. Okay, I'll just give you some example normative imperative. So it is a norm of you to be successful. People teach you, right? People teach you that if you want to be successful, why you need segmentations, why you need targeting, and why you need positioning, and how that positionings are therefore being instructed by looking at the industry structures, and then from there you positions your structure, your positioning to be your behavior, which is really nothing but segmentations and targeting of the structure driving the behavior. So which is like the structures behavior performance model that I have just offered you yesterday on the YouTube. You can look at it from the theory of structures, behaviors, and performance. So it's all basically the same, but it just in the marketing perspective. Okay, so normative in the sense that in a general sense, it's just like somebody has already accumulated a lot of knowledge on structures, induces behavior, induces performance, and therefore teach you the segmentations, targetings, and positioning theory of marketing, and therefore they transfer the knowledge to you, and so that you can you have a lot of knowledge and data. So from the data isoquants experience sense, the more data you have, the less investment or the more sharper investments you have on the physical side, and so you can get a better returns on your capital and things like that. So therefore in a way it is like, in order for firms to achieve the goal, you should do this, do that. You should have a segmentations, you should have targeting, you should have a positioning and things like that. But the overall idea is really coming from a theory of for example, structures, behavior, and performance. And again, there are a lot of different angles of different theory that can help you to understand STP from different angles. And I hope that you already have learned from your marketing, and I therefore do not need to spend time teaching you again on the theories of marketings. And there are many important theories. Okay, and you could easily come up with 30, 20, 40 theories on the marketing. So theories are very important, and I also have demonstrated a lot of theories on supply chain management for you. Right, and so theories importance because somebody has already accumulated experiences on the data, and so they know and what types of how we can exploit the data in a way that can generate the best design on the physical factors, and that kind of experience-based inductions of the learning will generate a lot of rules and rules for you to follow. So this therefore theories are just nothing but reliable and valid rules. And this is very important because this is where the foundations of artificial intelligence comes into the picture. Okay, and this is these rules and regulations. These rules and regulations. Rules are the fundamental basis for artificial intelligence. Okay, such as fuzzy logic controls. Okay, so these are the very important, very important concepts that all of you should know. Okay, because we if you look into the data, the physical isoquants, the more data you have, the more you understand that doing like this segmentations and doing in these segmentations allow us to do another step, which is targeting, and then in doing so we can generate a better way of positioning, more targeted, more concentrated, more focused positioning, where we can laser sharp, laser focus investment, and the returns will be higher than the without focus. And so this kind of thing is called logic, right? It just rules. So computers observed all these observe all these rules and regulations. I mean, rules of the how we're going to be, how the practical worlds are working, and that how the companies are successful in their marketing, and it forms the fuzzy logic. Okay, and therefore that would be the starting basis or point for artificial intelligence. And this is how why certain country is so powerful in artificial intelligence and why some are not. So one of the very key importance artificial intelligence, therefore, is about data. You have to, and when it comes to data, it means that the country has to set up a new ethical rules and laws. Okay, and that comes back again to the light green, which is the compliance-based innovation, which is driven by the government and the Michael Porter's concept as well. And that is the government should have should allow and promote and stimulate massive data collection of the industry. So the more data you collect, the more rules it can form, and the more rules it can form, the more robust the fuzzy logic control is, and the more able is the artificial intelligences. Okay, so these are very, very important concepts on how business can turn from simple understanding of the marketings and operations and whatever, okay, into artificial intelligence. Okay, so I for those who comes into this class, so hopefully you already know something about how to make transform your companies to artificial intelligence. How are you going to do that? It needs engineers, okay, to help you. But if you're a CEO, you really need to know those important concepts on artificial intelligence and how and the data's physical isoquants, which I have explained. So conclusion, it backs to theory. So that is the reasons why in the business research, I teach you theory, data, theory, data, theory, data, theory, data, data, theory, data, theory. So in conclusion, it's still back to the theory. And so theory is just nothing but reliable, valid rules. So if you want to have artificial intelligence, robust artificial intelligence, again, show the theory. Are you sure that you know your theory? If you do not know, that means you don't have artificial intelligence. So that would generate we call competitive strategies called insights. Okay, yesterday's on the YouTube you can go for a review, and this review the 5X, operations and data physical isoquants, and you will learn that there are for world-class managers, I share with you the world-class managers need to master two competencies, or gain or use these two competencies to help you derive and develop and implement the competitive strategies. And one of them is the experience-based learning, and the other one is learning by insight. We call neoclassical Newtonian learning, and the other ones we call the non-Newtonian learning and things like that. Okay, so it's so your competitive strategies become insights and intelligence driven. Okay, and again, I have already shared with you, all come from big data collection and learning. Okay, so the isoquants of data physical is the necessary path for artificial intelligence to take place. Without that isoquant, your artificial intelligence will not take place. And artificial intelligence can be embedded into every single business strategy, including supply chain management and your business management systems or your strategic management systems platform. Okay, so theory therefore are fundamental base. They are the foundation for all this happening. Okay, for all these intelligence systems to happen. Okay, so I will probably take one more, not less than another hours to summarize the detail, and then I'll let you go. Okay, and even those every times every sections we have covered very strong knowledge and foundations, which it's not easily obtained from the textbook. You need to do a lot of research, and you need to have a lot of experience in the industry. Okay, and so you in fact have within a short concise video, hopefully you already have gained some important knowledge, and from there you can interact with your company's other functional roles to implement the competitive strategies and ensure the competencies being developed. So this is what we need from all these theories becoming the rules of how we can make use of marketing segmentations, rules of how we can make use of segmentations, rules of how we can make use of positioning, in what way positioning would best manifest itself. And once we have the positioning, what we're going to do, where is the positioning to arrive at, and how we're going to take on from the positioning, and how we're going to realize that positioning, in what way we're going to impact the positioning, marketing positioning on the to the minds and hearts of the customers, and that is where the the consumer behaviors and marketing concepts, marketing tactics, or we call marketing 4P, 5P, 6P, 7P, or maybe 4R, 5R, 6R, or maybe 4C, 5C, 6Cs comes into the picture. They are just nothings but a little bit of operational strategy, right? Tactic, they are not business strategies. The marketing strategies are really nothing but the operational tactics and details, and they take on to realize the positioning. So if you want a positioning, and how are you going to position? Are you going to position with from the perception perspective, or you going to position through your value propositions that you're going to propose to the customers, or you're going to positioning with certain brand integrity, brand identity, brand personality, or you're going to positioning with certain quality control and quality perception, or you're going to positioning with certain experience characteristics or experience attribute, or you're going to positioning with your automated the interactions, seamless or omni-channel design of your services and things like that. And or you can have positioning with servitizations, in the sense that you're a manufacturing companies, but you want to turn the product into a services through positioning using service contracting. Already a coverage of all these concepts to give you the memory back, and sometimes the internet are on and a little bit weak. Okay, so this is where all these rules comes into the picture, and with those rules we can design a lot of mathematical algorithm, like analytical hierarchical programs, and all this I mean process and things like that, fuzzies or TOPSes, optimizations or neural network or structure equations modeling, all these algorithms, and all these algorithms are, this is where the starting point of artificial intelligence is. That means that there is one what we call, maybe in the future we are being controlled by artificial intelligence and algorithm. So artificial intelligence means the enactings and the manifestations of the algorithm. So algorithm is the key for artificial intelligence. Okay, so and this algorithm training takes a long time. Okay, we were trained algorithms when we were very young. When we come to the university, we have to be trained on many algorithms. We have to train on the basic foundations on algorithm, and then all the way to machine language writing, assembly language writing, and then C language writing, C++, Pascal, and all this Fortran, and all this, and then into robust mathematics, computer algorithms, interactions like finite elements, which you design the airplane, and finite differences, which you design the fluid dynamics and missiles control and things like that. So we spend a lot of time on algorithm, and that's why Western's world very strong in artificial intelligence and algorithm, because we were trained since very young age of 15, 14 already on algorithm. Okay. So on the practical side, the smart automation systems really is nothing but relying on the theories, right? Remember the YouTube, you can refer the datas and the physical isoquant. That isoquant is a theory. That isoquant is a theory, okay? And so the smart, that is where the basis of all the smart automation is. So if you, for example, when I was, for example, responsible for operations, food productions operations, and we were involved with the projects in Mark and Spencer's, or the and others big retail companies from USA or UK. Mark and Walmart's are in USA, Mark and Spencer's and Sainsbury's are from UK. And when they come, and we were trying to automate certain food production in such a way that can quickly and robustly and safely with reasonable bacterial counts, okay, that humans can take safely, and with these automations, and allow that these efficient operations of the food production. And that is not straightforward, because we need to integrate a lot of theories, such as theories of heat transfer and theories of the numerical analysis. So I have to measure the temperatures through the sensors, and from the temperatures of the sensors getting into the I have to set up a table which is about the bacteria, how much bacteria you can kill through a certain pressure temperature process, and from there with a certain pressure and temperatures get into the table, and then we can do the we can calculate, and then I can plot the graph, and then I can use the numerical analysis and to obtain where is the area of integrations using the integrations of this area and then from the numerical integration, and then from there we can generate a lot of online quality statistical quality control chart SPC. We have a control points, upper control point, lower control point, and then we can see where is our optimizations points where we can cook the best seafood in the world. Okay, and things like that, and because we can do that in such a very efficient, robust, automated manner, the cost is so low that, and the taste is so good, and that you can generate a lot of containers and 40-foot containers, many containers, and that is where smart automations comes into the picture. So smart automations is really nothing but your data data physical isoquant. Okay, so again, you are just students. I hope that you still can imagine what I'm telling you, that what to do. How was the practical pictures? But I hope that in the future, when you move on to practical world, you will know that. Okay, but again, the practical world will be more and more challenging unless you in the past you were so lucky to already have involved in smart automation system, because smart automation is not today, it's already there 30 40 years ago, right? Because we were already using supercomputers when I was at the age of 16. Every day we have to run on supercomputer, and every day we have to deal with smart automations. That was 40 years ago, or whatever, or 30 years ago, and so today it's only starting to take the mass shape. So unless you have that training, otherwise, hopefully in the future, when you go to the company are rich enough or big enough that has these smart automations for you to learn. Again, hope that this this series of class today and yesterday's on the YouTube would be robustly sufficient for you to have an idea how you can integrate the theories that you have learned in the class to the artificial intelligence and smart automation system. So you already know by now that why, and this is where the research is, okay? And but again, we are not talking about research, but again, directly, everything is about research, because when we talk about data, physical isoquant, then it's already without the research, hands-on competencies of research. So research is a business competency. So in reality, business competency, because I have already shared with you where is strategy and I have already shared with you the strategic management, which is nothing but deduction and deduction. So strategic management utilizes the knowledge and theories to help you develop the hypothesis, which is the strategy, implement it, generate the data, analyze it, and then check on your balance sheets, your profit and loss statements, and your financial account. And you should be able to iteratively deductions and inductions in that process. So business competencies, the fundamental business competency is really nothing but business research. So if you look carefully into, and this is a higher orders competencies. So competencies, we have the lower orders and the higher orders. Lower order is not lower, doesn't mean lower salary. Lower orders means the operation. Higher orders means the strategic. So competencies need to master the higher orders and the lower orders. Okay, so these higher orders, you got to master business research, which is induction, deduction, deduction, induction. That is a higher order issue. We will refer. I will go back and review it again on the business competency class. So theory, therefore, it's playing a very important role by now. You already know many slides that I have covered, and it predicts the future because you have strong understanding of your data and physical interaction, and it can help you to experience what's happening, and that's why you form the rules, right? And so you control kind of getting a good grip on your past events, right? And you can, because you have good rules, and that's why you can turn into artificial intelligence, and that's why you can control the system without human intervention. So you can just go and sleep, and artificial intelligence will drive the car for you. We call autonomous car driving, and so you can basically control almost everything without human intervention. Okay, because but it relies on human intervention, which is called algorithm. Okay, so we put our knowledge and into algorithm. Okay, and in a robust, flexible sense and valid sense, and then let the artificial intelligence control, explain, predict. Okay, so in conclusion, theory therefore is just nothing but it's guiding our behavior, right? Guiding our behaviors, and in a particular directions according to the particular theory. So certain theory, certain algorithm, certain types of algorithms, certain direction. So if you want to have a lot of flexibility in different directions that is able to react to different contexts or environment, you need a robust theory, maybe in a crowd system, maybe in a computer chips that embed a lot of theories in your computer chips and things like that. And so that anything happens, like if the missiles flying, and if something happened that the theories or the data or the sensors can sense the data, and immediately the computer chips realizes that this is under another rules, and so you take on another rules and switch on the activate the rule, and then maybe the missiles can go up rather than in an intelligence way, and then go forward, and then the missiles will come, and then you destroyed your purpose. So once you have when your missiles is flying, and if your data comes into the picture, and then you take on another rules. So there are many theories, many rules. Or this theory, another rules will influence you to crime, and then or maybe allow you to come down, because coming down is accelerated by the gravitational force, so maybe faster, hypersonic, right? So maybe faster, and then you can eliminate all these obstacles, and then from there you can bypass, okay, and obstacles, and continue your journey of your missile shooting. So this is way everybody need to work together in missile control systems, okay? Because we need the electrical, we need the electronics, we need the computer algorithm, we need the managers, we need the strategic, we need this, we need that. So everybody can play the role, but do you know the language? If you do not know the language, you do not know the knowledge, then you cannot participate in the missile design team. But if you really know the behaviors of all these issues, then of course you can work in any companies you like, right? Okay, so by now you know that the integrative structures like the Michael Porter's, right? If you want to make use of Michael Porter's diamonds model of the factor conditions and market conditions and competitive strategies and rivalries and of the industries, plus the supporting industry and the opportunity chance and the government, and the manifestations of competitive advantage and competitive strategies of the nations industry really depends on integrating all the things. So you're really coming back to the fundamental idea on the integrative uses of the theory. We call scholarships of integrations. Okay, so integration is very important. Without that integration, your missiles cannot robustly have the competitive advantage of winning over another missiles, okay, or another country's missiles. Okay, so all these issues automatically need you to be sensitive to all the different environments and opportunity and threat, and then take on your theories to generate rules and of your strengths and weaknesses. So strengths and weaknesses takes on the rules from interacting with the opportunity and threat. Okay, and you can use that all these issues to solve and design, optimize, and richly explain, for example, supply chain management problems and performances. Okay, and things like that, or in operations, or in missile controls, or in the seafood production system, which I have just explained it to you, and things like that. So in a conclusion, the conclusions, we are therefore even better, because nowadays we know we have the blockchain, and we know that if you want to turn into artificial intelligence, you got to have a lot of data. And then based on the data, isoquants, physical isoquants, and we know that the security of data is the robust importance issue, and the blockchains can help us resolve all these security issue, and the Internet of Things will allow us to get connected on time, real time, with all the data. And so with the IoTs and blockchain, eventually we can be all embraced within the data environment, and then we can then go into the collect all the data, and then if we can have a good robust algorithm, we can generate a lot of analytics intelligence. So that is what we mean by data and business analytics and intelligence platform, which is like computer chip. So this is really nothing but a computer chips in like a missile control, or semiconductors, okay, things like that. And then from there we can take on the environmental data, and also take on the operational data, and things like that. And this is where the platform-based business model systems comes into the picture. And a platform-based model is a simple model. This is not as sophisticated as I just explained it, but it is this is where it is. Okay, so we can really depends on the theories and depends on the ideas, right? And then we can take on different rules and help us to structuralize our ideas, which is into the rules, and then the way our behaviors come to the picture, and then where we can gain a lot of performances. And this is where sustainability and innovations come to the picture. This is another area of how we can how we can gain sustainable performances through in a different way or interpretations of what I have just explained to you in terms of the dark green, light green, stakeholder green, and all these things like that. So if you want to have share value, if you want to have share value on what I have just explained a long while ago of share value creation, so you can create share value through overlapping as much as possible on a me-we world, or you me-centric, but again, we will be radiating out, or you're interlocking like a gear. So depending on what you do on the share value, there are many different concepts. One of the concepts from Harvard Business School is this three stage of the three levels of shared value creations. The one I just explained to me, first of all, you need to have the market green, which is reconceiving. We look carefully into what the customers really needs and markets and segments, and that is where your positioning comes in the picture from the various different angles, right? You can position it from the value propositions, branding, and experience based or automated things and automated processes dealing with the customers and things like that. And from there, you can once you consolidate the reconceiving of the customer's needs, then you can move on to stakeholder green, which is redefining the productivity in the value chain, optimizing it using your artificial intelligence and IoTs and blockchain. And then from there, you can once you standardize it, we can put in more resources with the community, and that is a very agglomerated concept of corporate social share value, so corporate social responsibility in the sense of being part of the strategies of the company. So corporate social responsibility CSR becomes the core competitive strategies of the company, and that is by enabling local clusters development. So your competitive strategies coming from your corporate social responsibility in the sense of pulling agglomerations, right? Agglomerations of all the community resource community to help you develop the resources that you need in order for you to sustain your value chain operation that to meet the customer's requirement. Okay, so therefore competitive strategy, as I already explained, it can be looking at, can be initiated, can be realized, can be developed, can be started from various different angles, and one of them is therefore the corporate social responsibility. In this sense, is only is the shared value concepts of the local cluster development, and which is the agglomeration theory. Again, theory, right? Again, it is all about theory, and so you can basically involve sustainable cluster development of a community to help you. Some of them may plant the coffee trees, and then you can move on to other places to grow the coffee, things like that, right? So really depends on how you can look at these different environmental situations and adapt using the different theories, which informs different rules, and then from there you can have an automated artificial intelligence driven competitive strategy. Okay, and there are a lot of different strategies, and I will give you the homework assignments next week, maybe relating to all these strategies, and ask you to give me an example, show how these all kind of theories that you can apply. So it's a very simple assignments. Probably not simple for you, because I'm not so sure, because of your experiences and because of your strength of your theoretical background, or because of I do not know. But anyway, we will have an exercise on it, and you can look into difference. I will give you the papers to read. So you can read it by yourself. There are a lot of different theories, and we could have a theory or adoptions in such a way that if you want innovations to be adopted by different stakeholders and different customers or different suppliers, and you gotta ensure that there are certain adoptions attributes like triability, that you allow people to try, allow people to observe your product and services, allow people to and to test, and so on and so forth, and diffusion and things like that. That is the adoption theory. So all different theories will have different rules. And this is what I want you to understand today. And by understanding the rules and regulations, the knowledge and wisdoms from the different theories, that you can therefore generate a lot of the strategy. And then based on those strategy, invest money on it, and then make sure that everybody mastered it and becomes the competency. And so every strategy follow certain business competitive strategy and business competency. So where the business competencies come from, it come from strategy. Where the competitive strategies come from, it come from the theory. And all these are just nothing but computer chips. Okay, computer chips are algorithm. Okay. And a pressure theory is simple. Okay, you can look at it later from the papers that I will assign to you to read. And but from the what you already know, that really it's nothing but pressing the opportunity of the environment, and sense the opportunities and exploit the opportunity. Attraction, selections, attribution is very important concept, especially in human resource developments or capitalization, human capitalizations, or the or grouped. For example, if you want to look into the agglomeration theory, the geographical concentrations, or economic theory, activity, and this probably attraction, selections, and attribution theories comes into the picture, where you must have certain reasonable criteria or attraction, strategic attraction, or an opportunity for attracting your partners your suppliers to come to be a part of you, and then you select your partners and to be who is going to be your partners, who is not going to be your partners, and then from there they will be then they start to interact and interactions and culturalize with your community. I mean, with your practices, and then some people like you will continue to be with you. Some people do not like you will disappear. So it kind of filtering out all this issue, and that is attraction, selections, and attribution theory, which you have already learned from human resource management or strategic human resource SHRD or development or management. Cognitive dissonance is just nothing but dissonance means something to distract, something that is differences. So there's certain cognitive dissonance, means certain cognitive synergies and disagreements, or something's not aligned, and being that your company's managements and competitive strategy must resolve to dissolve and eliminate all this dissonance and get into common synergy, so that you supply chains and use are in tune, or customers are in tune with each other. That is where one of the approach of positioning, brand positioning comes into the picture, where we need to position in such a way that the customer's perceptions and our value proposition we propose and the customer perceived values are in total agreement. And so customer value proposition is the value that is proposed by the customer and proposed by the company, and the customer value propositioning perceived values is the perceptions of the customers, and these two got to may have, if there is certain cognitive dissonance from the customer perspective, then your companies will have difficulties in winning the market. And this is only one direction, one perspective, and we're talking about strategic issue, artificial intelligence issue. That is a whole bunch of other issues. So again, you will have to need to learn all these different types of theories, and I will give you the opportunity to go through them and to suggest them. But this is the couple example. Okay, and just give you one example again on this page, maybe job demands and resource theory. And this job demands resource theory is a very fundamental understanding for you to be successful in executing, implementing your competitive strategies, or for you to be able to take off and realize your business competency to the maturity level, and also allow you to in alignments according to the scholarships of integration or integrations or all the strategies. Again, all the strategies that can be all interacting and integrating each other. If you only know one strategy, one theory, and be able to use that particular theory, and that means that your competency is very low. That means your competitive strategy is very low. Competitive strategy is about integration. It's about integrations. It's about integrated natures of all the concepts and theory, which is about scholarships of integrations that gives you a wider perspective. So this is a very, very, very important. And so if you come to this class and hopefully you understand what I mean, and otherwise, if I give you the assignments, you will probably look at each of the individual theories, and therefore you think that you understand the theory. In fact, you do not understand. And so job demands resources can be also integrated to the attractions, selections, attribution theory, in the sense that, for example, job demands and resources, as I already told you, that if you want to implement the competitive strategies, you need certain resources, and it was demanded by the nature of the competitive strategy. And that resource demanded, the resource supported, that is what we mean by competency. And so in conclusions, the resource theory, the competency, the resources, and the job demands from the competitive strategy point of view got to be balanced, and that is where the and if you extend it to the affiliations and alliances or the stakeholders outside your boundary, and slowly you can look into the matching theory and things like that. But otherwise, it is all about attraction, selections, attributions in place. That you got to have certain attractive ideas. You got to be attracted. Your demands got to be attracted. So people are attracted to work for you because of the attractions or the competitive strategy, and you select them through the competency that you need, and then you provide the job resource balance of that attribution. Okay, so many different theory you will have to go through. You have to uh, go through them, and we will look at the types of the projects that I'll give it to you next time, not today. So a 1 week free. Okay, any assignments that you have not given to me, so try to finish it as much as within today, or things like that. Okay, so but basically it would be something like that. Sometimes I give you just a couple of simple examples and things like that. So each of the theory is an embedded worldview or mindset, right? Every theory is an embedded worldview, right, and mindset. Okay, and they drive your thinking, which is therefore driving your strategy, and because of your thinking, it drives your behavior, and that's where the so theory is really nothing but a structure. So if you refer back to Michael Porter, Harvard Business Schools, talking about the market positioning or the economics theory of competition, and you will realize that Michael Porter talk about the very importantly helping you to generate the competitive strategies by first analyzing the macro environment, pesto, political, legals, and things like that. And then from there, you work on your, you look at the general trend and possible threat and opportunity from the policies of the environments and the opportunity, things like that. And then from there, you can drill focus more into the industry perspectives of the 5 forces of these industries' competitive structure. And that so this structure of industry, there's no difference between that structure of the industries relative to the structure of knowledge, which is called theory. And in fact, if you look into the Michael Porter on the structures of the industry, it is really nothing but just one of the concept, one of the theory, one of the worldview. And that worldview say that it depends on the strength of your bargaining forces and all this the bargaining forces and the threat, the degree of the threat, and you will be able to realize that stronger those strength will be reducing your industry's profitability's attractiveness, and so this is just nothing but a structures of knowledge. So it is a rule, right? It's a computer chip. It's like an algorithm. So it's a rules, and these rules based on certain embedded worldviews or mindset, and we're just nothing but following that rules. So let me ask you. So are you different from robots? Are we different from robots? No, we are not different from robots, because if somebody teach us Michael Porter's 5 forces and we are just following the Michael Porter's 5 forces and work on it day in and day out, there is nothing different. So we are just nothing but we keep complaining, oh, robots are coming, artificial intelligence are coming, we hate them and they're taking away our jobs, but we are behaving like robot. So if we are behaving like robot, well, they can replace us. So why are you still stuck and stick on these things? So you got to transcend them. You got to transcend the algorithm. You got to transcend the rules. You got to transcend the behavior of the governed by the theory. So the whole thing I am teaching you today is hopefully helping you to transcend, helping you to be in control of the artificial intelligence. So each of the theories is embedded worldview or mindset, and they drive your thinking and they drive your behavior. That's where the computer chips and where the business comes into the picture, right? So it's a very, very important cases, and we have a lot of example cases, and depends on different types of theory that you use, different types of competitive strategies you can derive, and then different types of business competencies can be resulted if you master them from the novice level to the maturity level. So, for example, in the drop shipping, where you are trying to create a competitive strategies of not being exploiting product supplier as much as possible, so that you do not need to have inventory on your side, and so therefore you kind of reducing all the costs, and your job therefore is just nothing's but interacting with this e-commerce retailer, and that is where your rules and regulations are, and this is where the boundary, the rules and regulations, and this is the behavior of regulations. You can observe them, and you can you can observe the data, and then slowly observe and see how you can take on the shape of physical drop shipping design. And so it's just like an isoquant. Okay, it's just like an isoquant. It's just like a finance operations that you can refer to my YouTube, okay, and things like that. And for example, if I use one of the strategies that it's just one part of the strategy, theory, for example, theory of prior behavior strategy. So I use this part of the strategy, which involved factors influencing the intentions and behavior of people investing monies on the drop shipping. So I try to understand how the behaviors and intentions of people investing on drop shipping, and by utilizing the theories of prior behavior, and we can come up with a lot of understandings of how people behave, and so this so their intentions to invest money investing on drop shipping really depends on many different factors. It depends on society norms, depends on the trend that really makes them so attractive to invest on drop shipping. But there are certain challenges on the inactive e-tailers that can reduce their efforts in behavioral intentions, because they have a direct connections to e-commerce retailer in that sense, unless they do something about it by themselves through social media. Otherwise, they will have some issue on that. And there are a lot of competitiveness of the product and services, and all kind of businesses and varieties of all kind of businesses, the omni-channels issue that allow drop shippings to emerge and things like that. And again, there are so many factors that you can reasonably figure it out and from the theories, and that is what I want you to look at it from the assignment. And if you are looking into the long-term industry social SAMs, but this one is based on another theory, which is practice-based view, and which is ISO 9001, and I will share with you in the next version, which is practice-based view. So what happened in this practice-based views is that practice means that you're doing it again and again. You have already fine-tuned it, and if you go into the data, physical isoquants or capital level isoquants, you will realize that by learning through experiences, you gain, you transcend, and you improve your practices. So practice-based means that you provide a system of experience, such as through ISO 9001. And by engaging with the data, you generate a lot of practice-based theory. And from the practice-based theory, you improve your system. And then until a point where you can you reach a very strong competence level, adaptive competence level, you can transcend through learning by insight into a next tier of isoquant, okay, and things like that. So from there, I look at the long-end industries in Chiang Rai, and we can see how we can develop the competitive strategies in incorporating the competitiveness values of the long-end industries plus the lean strategies in that supply chain. And then from there, we can work on some of the competencies and competitive strategies level in combination. Okay, and again, this is what this is in Myanmar. We will look into the rice milling, and again, this is the competitive strategies in the sense that if you want to improve the competitiveness and the rice milling performance of the company, you really have to ensure qualities of customer relationship management, which is supported by logistics and transportations and milling facilities and capacity technology management, which again depends on your the cost control and supplier relationship management, the human resource management. Again, depends on how you sense the opportunity and trade-off your based on the Michael Porter's 5 forces. Okay, things like that. And if another example is that I can pick up the example, the data. I can pick up the data from the from all. I pick up all the data from the different hotels in Aceh, in Indonesia, and then I run through the neural network computer artificial intelligence system, and I ask the computer. I get all the data, and then I develop the algorithms, and I ask the computer to help me find the place where it is optimum, that can help me to understand the phenomena of how the hotel has been running to bring about the effective performance of the hotels. And from there I can come up with the situations, the operations performance measurements, and external performance management and networking of the companies will be able to drive the organizational learning, which then drive the operations management. This is operation performance measurement. This is operations management, which then together drive the customer's objective, delivering the best objective customer value proposition to the customers, which in terms together with organizational learning and operations management and operation and customers value propositions drive the deliver the performance objective of the hotel. And all this coming from artificial intelligence. So I do not do anything. I just ask the computer. I just write the algorithm. We just use the algorithm and ask the computer to tell me the story, and the computer can tell you the story. So in that case, you need the do you need to the people to do the research for you? Do not, because this runs by computer, runs by robot. So I'm trying to demonstrate to you that even the research can be operated by robot, not by human. And so also the robots can generate the information for you to improve how to improve the performance of the hotel. Okay, so this is very, very challenging for the next generation of the students. And we jumping back and forth through the slide. And so this because sometimes it's very difficult for you to understand in the beginning of the slide. I have to go to other slides before coming back to this slide. And the production processes of the pineapples, I do not have sufficient time, but I just work on the Pule and Langley in Chiang Rai, and just trying to look at the label working situations so that I can derive the attractive this theory, right? Theory. I can implement this theory, attraction, selections and attribution theory, and I can also incorporate the competitive strategies of the Pule and Langley, and the resources that I need to supply to the laborers, workforces, for them to be able to guide in improving the productivity of the operations, and also incorporated the leaders and the workforce exchange theory, two-way directions that allow them to provide opinions and dare to say something if something needs to be improved and things like that. So it is a combination of all the theories, and then we can for the job demands resource theories, we found out that the job satisfactions will lead to more commitments, which will lead to more loyalties, and which will lead them to more daring to provide opinions to improve the services and be a part of the committed teamwork to challenge and improve the performances and quality of the operation, and in turn drive the organizational performance that come from job demands resource theory, and the exchanges between the leaders and the members in terms of trust, and the motivations in tune with the attraction and the selections and things like that. Okay, so it very, very important. And by theory, you can You can make use of theory from various different angles. You can look at the analytical, the rules, regulations. You can look at the dynamic situation of whichever we are, whichever of the theories or the practical work, or we can look at the metaphorical comparisons between the bird to help us design the airplanes or things like that, or the vacuum to help us explain and deliver design the hyperloop airplane systems or the train systems, or we can use that. Use the theory to help us facilitate our communication and discussions and brainstorming and convergence and divergence, innovation, design thinking through the facilitative mode. And we can also use the balance scorecard, which I have just explained to you in the, for instance, in the Myanmar mailing systems, which is similar to balance scorecard to help us intervene to improve the mailing system of the industry, rice milling industries, which you already have learned that the balance scorecards really is nothing but balance between all the perspectives. So we are not only focusing on finance, because finance is very backward and short terms, although the rules and regulations have changed that finance and accounting are merging together, but in the past, finance and accounting are separated, and that makes the but whichever the case, the integration still needs financial and accounting integrations. The rules and regulations take place in China, in Thailand right now. The government has just changed the rules. Again, it depends on how we interpret comparatively, and ability to interpret comparatively the rationalities of the financial and accounting. That is really nothing but balance scorecard. And if you execute to the experts level, from the novice level, then this is a business competency. So the business competency is really to master the competencies of ability to innovate and ability to operate, use of innovation, and ability to innovate and operate and use it for entrepreneurial opportunity. And so entrepreneurship, innovation, and operation, and quality control in your internal perspective as well can help you to deliver the required financial perspective. All of them depends on competitive strategy. So all the competencies, financial competency management, customer management, value management, so customer relationship management, the internal business operations management, which involve corporate social responsibility, shared value, innovations management, or the this quality ISO 9000 ones of accounting management systems, whatever, and that also supported by learning and growth. Okay, and so the things that I ask you to do in terms of antecedent of the corporates on the innovation. For example, if internal business is one of them is innovation, so where is your antecedent? And learning and growth becomes one of your antecedent. And if you look into that learning and growth, a lot of details, strategy competency becomes one of the antecedent for innovation. So without the competency, you cannot innovate. Okay, without the strategic technology, you cannot innovate. Without a climate for action, you cannot innovation. So, but unfortunately, I have not graded your assignments. But when I look at your assignments, I think most of you do not really fulfill the requirements of the antecedents. So, antecedents means something comes before that. And so, if we are talking about innovations, what are the some things come before that? If you're talking about entrepreneurship, if you're talking about entrepreneurship, what comes before that? And so this, for example, if you feel that entrepreneurship is about opportunity, exploitations, and ability to get into the market, and so therefore the antecedents of the entrepreneurships will be your internal business operations competencies, or internal business competencies separated into different categories, such as being a good neighbor would probably allow you to have a lot of entrepreneurial opportunity. Excellence in operations will give you the trust and operate and deliver under the cost control manner. Customer intimacy, your customer relationship management, and would allow you to understand where you should design your customer's value proposition, because without the management perspective, you will not be able to understand where the customer's value are. And without your ability to design and develop your leaders, your product design, and you are not able to deliver the customer's value. And so therefore, all this becomes the antecedent. Okay, so that proves that we really, we really have, all of us really have to go and when we are given an assignment. Assignment means that if a CO is giving you assignment, you have to really go and figure it out by talking to suppliers, by talking to your colleagues, by talking to Google, by talking to library, by talking to competitive competitions, market generations reports, maybe talk to consultants, maybe talk to other people in order to understand what do you mean by antecedent. Okay, and no one is going to give you the idea. If you cannot say, excuse me, CEO, what do you mean by antecedent? Tell me the antecedent. The CEO ask you to do the job and antecedent, so you gotta figure it out. Okay, so this is I have not looked at it, but basically everything's the weaknesses I see is like this. Okay. Okay, so this is where we today we will stop here